Joining us this week on the Daily Dose, we have a friend that has been coming into the dose like since the days of the radio show, like back in the day. He is never short on opinions. He is going to tell us exactly what he thinks. And that is what makes having Raymond from Washington, D.C. on the podcast so much fun. Raymond, welcome back to the Daily Dose. Always glad to have you here.
Thanks, Clint. Glad to be with you again.
Raymond, I want to talk some NFL today. I know that you might not be in a great mood. For those who don't know, Raymond is a big Buffalo Bills fan. He is a member of the Bills Mafia. I know you're probably having a little bit of a rough week this week, though.
Well, I am pre-mafia.
You are pre-mafia. No, that's
yes,
true.
I am. We appreciate all the new Bill fans, I guess. Yeah. It was a tough day yesterday. Not what I expected.
Not what I expected either. And I'm gonna break down that game here in just a few minutes. But I want to get your thoughts on the other games that we saw this weekend. I kind of want to recap the divisional playoffs that we saw in the NFL over the weekend. Raymond, the Kansas City Chiefs hosted the Jacksonville Jaguars on Saturday. And I actually give the Jags a ton of credit this season. Head coach Doug Peterson, he's done a really, really good job. Trevor Lawrence might be starting to grow up, but you could kind of see they weren't quite in the same class as the Chiefs. The Chiefs win the game 27-20, but the story of the game was probably Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes leaving the game for a while with a high ankle sprain. Mahomes came back, he sealed up the win, but how concerned should the Chiefs be with this injury?
Well, it looked pretty bad. I think we're all kind of. It looked really bad. I was surprised that he came back onto the field, and I would, he's probably going to be in a boot, and there's no way he could be 100% for next week. So they should definitely be real concerned.
If they have to bring in Chad Henne can't win this game, can he?
Well, I can tell you one thing. The key to the game they just won was the drive that Chad Henne, the 98-yard drive that he pulled off against Jacksonville.
You're right.
That's how we knew Jacksonville wasn't ready for prime time. You give up a 98-yard drive to Henne. But with that being said, if Henne's going to be your quarterback next week against the Bengals, they're in trouble.
Yeah, you can do it for a drive. I don't think he can do it for a game. That's very, very different. And if they get a chance to put pressure on you, we know that team can do it. So that would be very interesting. Here's the question that I have. And I'm going to ask you this because I know you'll be honest with me. There are times, Raymond, that I see modern athletes. I see Patrick Mahomes. I see Anthony Davis. Raymond, they go down and you think they just got shot by a sniper rifle. They're rolling around. They can't move. They hobble off. And then they come running back in the game full strength. Now, I understand that there's some shots and there's some things they can give you to numb that up. And also, you're kind of playing it up, aren't you?
Well, I wouldn't compare the injury, and the Mahomes injury. That injury he had just now, that was a real one.
That looked real.
That looked real. So I'll give him some slack on that one because that one actually looked like it hurt. And I'm pretty sure he was took a shot or two. But he does tend to act a bit. He is quite an actor. I will agree with you there.
I remember a certain knee injury that he had here in Denver, and everyone thought that he was going to have to amputate his leg. He was right back, missed a drive, like no big deal. So I always kind of wonder that. I'm always like, is this a real injury or is this a soccer injury? Raymond, the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely destroyed the New York Giants on Saturday night. And while I think we all expected the Eagles to roll, I thought the Giants would put up some kind of a fight, like do something. They were completely overmatched. Philly rolls to a 38-7 blowout. And Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, I don't know, he's pretty good. I like the Eagles' balance on both sides of the ball. Where do you come in on Jalen Hurts, though?
I'm still not. I'm not convinced about Jalen. Actually, I mean, he's definitely done a good job. He does what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But at next game he's going to have to actually put the ball in the air and actually do some things. I think that they've done an excellent job coaching and play calling with Jalen, and I think that really helps him out. I don't know if he's as good as his numbers actually say. He's not a Mahomes or Burrow or Allen. He's not in that class, I don't think. So I think he's a tier down.
You know what he has, though? He has a really good offensive line. It must be nice.
He does have a good offensive line, and he has they call great plays. They call great stuff for him. They do.
All right, Raymond. I'm gonna upset you now, but the third game of the weekend was the game that was particularly rough for you because, like I said, Raymond is a huge Buffalo Bills fan, and the Bills were pushed around by the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Joe Burrow and the Bengals controlled the game from the beginning, and they rolled to a 27-10 win. So they will now go back to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game. Raymond, there are a few takeaways from this game for me, but what happened from your perspective as a Bills fan?
Well, this season was a very emotional one. We've had some big injuries, and then with DeMar, and I just think all the emotions just kind of took a toll. Maybe we underestimated the effect these events had on the team, and I think the emotions, they just weren't able to dig anymore. There was nothing left come game night, so they didn't play their best game of the season. I wouldn't say the Bengals are 27-10 points better than the Bills, obviously, but the Bills did not play their best. They played their worst game of the season. Credit to Cincinnati, but I think a lot of it was they didn't really come to play. They just didn't have it. Credit to Cincinnati, no disrespect, but the Bills, I think, were emotionally tapped.
I would agree with that. I was surprised that the Bills' defensive front did not really do much to Joe Burrow. That offensive line, we know they're banged up. We know they haven't been great all year. I kept waiting for the Bills' defensive line. Okay, they're going to make a play. They're going to get a hit, cause a fumble, cause a deflected. They didn't really do much. And Joe Burrow looked like he knew where he was going every single time before he even got to snap.
Yeah. He was in a zone.
Yeah.
He seemed to know what we were doing every play, if you will. So yeah, it was tough to watch. I haven't seen us play that bad since last year's Jacksonville game, where we weren't scoring. You know, we always score, and that just was. I'm like at a loss for words. You know, all I can tell you is that the emotions were not there. I'm not even as pissed as I normally would be about a loss. I'm just kind of numb.
Well, yeah, because I know that Music City Miracle, I know you're pretty fired up after that game. You I believe you tried to hurt yourself after that game.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah.
It's happened before. Yeah.
Do you remember what you did after that game?
Well, I drank downed a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And I placed a hammer.
You're not a drinker. What are you doing?
No, I'm not a big drinker. Down a bottle of wine, and then I just placed a hammer at the bottom of the stairs, and I just, I was gonna end it all. I was gonna jump on it.
That's kind of horrifying.
Yeah, I pushed through, but at the time it was tough. That's what I was feeling at the time.
Didn't you also? I feel like you lost a playoff game long ago to Miami, and you ran out into traffic of some kind.
That was a very emotional day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had some tough losses before, and this one didn't feel like that. This one I just felt, like I said, numb. I didn't want to hurt myself. I didn't want to hurt anyone.
That's good.
I just felt numb. So
yeah, that's a little concern. Here's a couple of thoughts that I have as well. You lose DeMar Hamlin. By the way, how much can a fan base take? You have the Super Bowls, you have the Music City Miracle, you have these things. You have the first player since like the 50s nearly die on the field. Like this, these things are horrifying. Having said that, the DeMar Hamlin stuff, and I know, a lot of emotions. What's kind of lost on some level, you kind of missed him in the defensive backfield. Like people kind of forget you lost that player. He's a contributor.
Yeah, he was. He took Micah Hyde's spot.
Yeah,
and unlike Michael Hyde, Hamlin which was low key part of another part of his issues is he's a thumper.
Yeah,
he'll hit you, and he'll dip his head and he'll put his head in there. He will, and I wouldn't say that led to what happened to him on that Monday night.
No,
but it's been several times this season where he's come in like a missile. He comes out of that secondary screaming. Hamlin does. So we missed that aspect. He brings an aggressiveness to our secondary. He's a hitter. So we did miss that.
Where do you come in on Josh Allen right now? Are you still, because I look at Josh Allen, I still go, dude is a freak. He's so big. He's so strong. He's still got a gun for an arm. I think he needs some more help though. You don't have a consistent running game. He really has one wide receiver. Where do you come in on Josh Allen? I know he had a bad day on Sunday, but where do you come in on Josh Allen?
Well, I'm still, Josh Allen's my man. He's my guy.
Okay.
I would like to see a little bit of a philosophy change though with my Bills. Josh Allen, he can throw the ball like that, but I just think our offense needs to have a more run element, more of a using different weapons in the offense as opposed to him having to throw it so much.
Yeah.
So I just was like a little bit of a change in our offensive philosophy. But Josh is my man, and I'm prepared to I want to continue to build around him. He's going to be the quarterback for years, and he is the most gifted quarterback in the league, period.
He is physically very, very gifted. It makes me wonder, all these bad things, maybe it's just all O.J. Simpson karma. I don't know. I'm throwing out ideas. That's what I've got.
Okay, thanks. All right, yeah.
In the final game of the weekend, the San Francisco 49ers outlasted the Dallas Cowboys in what actually ended up being a tight defensive battle. I'll be honest, I'm rarely impressed with much that the Dallas Cowboys do. I was a little impressed with their defense. They kept them in it. But quarterback Dak Prescott, he just makes too many mistakes. The loss of running back Tony Pollard was big. And the Niners are just very complete on both sides of the ball. Raymond, how much faith should we have in Niners rookie quarterback Brock Purdy?
None. I think Purdy can. I think he can beat the Eagles, but at the end of the day, he's going to need to throw the ball.
Yeah,
he's going to need to score 30 points in the Super Bowl. He's going to need to score 30 points, and I think San Francisco's good. They're good for a good 24 points, and that's about it. Their defense and their offense, it looks good, but they're good for about 24 points, and that's about it. And that's not going to cut it against Cincinnati or Kansas City. So, it's good. They're running the ball. They're taking up some time, but they're going to score 24 points.
Doesn't it feel like we're waiting for that game that Brock Purdy looks like a rookie? Like it's coming, isn't it?
Well, it's not coming. I mean, he's in a great system.
That's true.
So he's not asked to do, he's throwing the ball to McCaffrey. He's throwing the ball in the 10 yards. He's not throwing the ball. He's not asked to do a lot. Yeah. It's great game planning, but there are weapons all around him. You don't ask him to do much. You play great defense. You get 24 points, and you're going to lose to Kansas City or Cincinnati.
Yeah, I've never been a big Brock Purdy guy. When he was in college, I'm looking at him. I kept waiting to see what was so special. And I know he had to carry a bad team, but I'm waiting for that Brock Purdy to emerge. I feel like it's coming. Raymond, should Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy be on any sort of a hot seat, or is that just Cowboys crazy expectations?
Well, Cowboy fans are delusional, as we all know. This is as good as it's going to get for them. It's not going to get any better. Maybe they don't know that. So
they don't.
So and with that being the case, maybe they'll fire. Yeah, they would fire him.
They have a ton of free agents coming, and I mean like 5 or 6 starters are free agents, including Pollard. Yeah, they're gonna have some tough things. The problem with the Cowboys, they're kind of in the same situation that a lot of us are. They are locked into Dak Prescott. They can't really get out from under that contract. So people can talk about, well, what if we traded Dak? Ain't nobody taking Dak. That's not going to happen.
No, thank you.
You're going to have to figure out, because no one's going to pay that much for him. They have a ton of free agents coming, going to be very, very interesting. Raymond, speaking of the offseason, I want to get to some predictions for next week, even beyond in a few minutes. But we are on the verge of having another potentially wild NFL offseason. And I want to get your thoughts on what you think might happen with a few teams, with a few players. I know, like I said, you're never short on opinions. So go ahead and feel free to speak your mind, as if I need to tell you that. The Miami Dolphins were rolling along this year, at least looking solid. And then quarterback Tua Tagovailoa suffered not 1, not 2, but 3 head injuries. What should the Dolphins do? Do they go make a move to get somebody else? Do they trust Tua to return? Should he even return? What are your thoughts on a team that you see very often?
Well, as a squish the fish supporter, I can't stand Miami.
Right.
I've always, hey, he's a nice guy, but he's garbage. I feel like he's always been. I'm unimpressed with him lofting the ball in the air, how he does. I think that I would love for them to bring him back. Actually, I would absolutely, and I have a feeling that they will. So
should he be done? Should he should he retire?
It's one of those things where everybody else sees it, but let them tell it. It's his hip, or what they say, it's his back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So let it be. Yeah.
He's having like a seizure on the field. It's his back.
It's his back. So I hope they bring him back. Nice kid.
Yes.
But bring him back. I'm all for it.
Well, I mean, according to Cheetah, he's the most accurate passer in the entire league. So why wouldn't you bring him back, right?
He does have a way of like just lofting the ball into. He has a Rivers. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, good comparison.
He used to have a not the way they throw the ball, but the trajectory.
Where it doesn't look like it's going to get there right.
Exactly. Yes.
And yet you're kind of like, no, it got there. I don't know how.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very like Peyton Manning when he was like 50. Like it's kind of like that. You're like, it didn't look pretty, but it got there.
Got there.
The Baltimore Ravens were tougher this year, I think, than people think they were. They took the Bengals to the wire in Cincinnati in the wild card round. If not for that fumble by backup quarterback Tyler Huntley, they probably win that game, and you're facing them this last week. But starting quarterback Lamar Jackson, he is going to be a free agent. He doesn't have a ton of help in Baltimore. Do they give him a deal? Do they franchise him? He's got to be a little bit reluctant to sign because he's looking around going, I don't have a ton of help here. What should the Baltimore Ravens do with Lamar?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm torn on this. They're losing their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And he's really built, the run game thing all around Lamar. And with him leaving, there's going to be a change. There's going to be a change in his system and all that. And I think Baltimore wanted a change in their offense. Baltimore just doesn't strike me as the type of team that's going to pay him Deshaun Jackson money. Like Baltimore, that's not their style. They don't. Although they haven't had like this type of quarterback either, but again, this is not Baltimore's style. So the fact that it has not happened still. I find that really interesting. And now the fact that he's all the way to free agency, I think he could just walk out the door.
Right.
They wouldn't get anything. But they could still franchise him, I believe.
They can franchise him, but does franchising him? I mean, we all get the franchise thing. Okay, that means we can keep him and we got some time to get a new deal, but it almost just makes players angry now. Now I'm really not going to sign with you. So yeah, the franchising thing always feels kind of dicey.
Yeah, especially that's because he wants guaranteed money.
Yes.
Yeah, so I don't want to play on a 1-year deal because I want guaranteed money. Baltimore screwed. I would have been happy to play them though.
Oh yeah, you would much rather play them and Huntley than Burrow.
Right, because Baltimore's going to score 24 points at the most.
At the most.
There you go. Yeah,
that's accurate. Okay,
yeah,
I can't believe this is a possibility, but there is talk in NFL circles that the Green Bay Packers could be considering trading Aaron Rodgers and beginning that Jordan Love era. Rodgers was not great this year, but I feel like this is one of those be careful for what you wish for kind of situations. Raymond, what should the Packers do with Aaron Rodgers?
They should try to trade him, but I don't know who's going to take on that contract.
That's a big one.
Yeah, they should definitely try to trade. They should try to get rid of him. But I don't think that's possible with the monster that they've created.
I feel like so many of these deals are like it's from playing Madden. People are like, well, just trade him. And then let this, you can't. This isn't Madden. Yeah. Teams don't want him. They don't want that big contract.
Yeah, that contract is crazy.
Yeah, it's huge. You're not going to pay that for a guy that didn't produce that much this year. Yes, it's possible with more weapons he comes out and looks better, and you don't know what you have with Jordan Love. I don't know if Jordan Love does anything this year either. So,
and do you want to trade for a quarterback who doesn't want to meet and practice and hang out with his wide receivers? Right. Are you kidding me? No, thanks.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That seems like that's not going anywhere. Raymond, you watched him for years when he was in New England, but we are finally seeing Tom Brady feel the effects of father time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't fully fallen off a cliff, but he's not the player he was. He's still capable of putting together a drive or two, but not always capable of putting together full games. I know he didn't have a ton of help this year in Tampa, but is Brady done? He was on a 1-year deal. We remember Miami was trying to get him. I would think the Raiders would be interested. Maybe even the Jets would be interested. Should Brady hang it up? What should he do? What do you see for Tom Brady?
Well, he should keep playing. I enjoy his demise. He has all these rings and the GOAT. Yeah, keep playing. Keep playing, and you're not going to be the GOAT. That's what's going to happen. If he keeps playing, he's not going to be the GOAT. He won't be. Yeah, because the last pitcher, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah,
is him helping him up.
Right.
Him throwing a ball into the ground to avoid getting tapped. He's so yeah, keep playing. I've never been a fan. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. He should keep playing. Yeah.
It's funny because people act like that won't happen. What do people remember about even John Elway and Peyton Manning? They're like, oh, yeah, they ended on a great note, but God, they were hobbling by the time they got there. They were the same. That's what people are going to remember. Like it or not, they will. And, Brady, it doesn't look so good. It looks like he's kind of fallen off. I'm fascinated to see where he ends up. The Las Vegas Raiders have never won a thing with quarterback Derek Carr. And the way their season ended this year, it makes me think they might be done with him. Could Derek Carr be headed out of Vegas?
Yeah, I think he's gonna go pastor a church somewhere else.
He does have that look to him, doesn't he? Him and Kirk Cousins are like the cool youth pastors that teach you how to rap the 10 Commandments, aren't they?
Exactly. Yes. So. And he doesn't swear and stuff, and he prays, and I mean he's a believer, which is great. Okay, but I think it's about time. We've been hearing this. I keep hearing these people say, "Oh, he's good. He's been pretty good and some good." The Raiders ain't winning crap. They ain't won crap, and they're not going to win crap as long as he's quarterback. And it's like, what are you talking about? The guy is, and when you really watch, sometimes like you'll see the stats and they look pretty good. When you actually watch this guy, this thing's an eye test. Okay.
Yes, you're right.
When you see this guy, it's like, I don't know how the hell he puts up these numbers because every time I see him, he's not good or he hasn't been. So,
well, and what's crazy, and I know he doesn't have a defense and all that. It always seems like the game is tight. It could go either way. I know the defense hasn't done well, but then when it could go either way and it's hanging in the balance, he throws a pick six. And you're like, okay, but you're the reason it went bad.
Yes. And then like the next week, you see he's thrown for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And it's like, he only does it when I don't watch. Like, it's the only time he has good games is when I don't watch. Like,
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I never see. You know where I could see him going? I could see him going to Indy and just being another in the line of bad quarterbacks since Andrew Luck. And they're going to be looking around like, we thought he was better. Why? What has he done to make you think he'd be better? Better like Matt Ryan? Better like that?
Right, exactly. Yes.
I totally see him ending up there. The San Francisco 49ers, I know that they're rolling and they've got Brock Purdy. They have some decisions to make. Veteran quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo will be a free agent. I would imagine he's gone. Maybe he ends up with the Raiders. I don't know. But Trey Lance was supposed to be the future. He wasn't really showing much. I know he got lost for the year with an injury, but before that, he wasn't really doing anything. Do you stick with Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy and you make Lance hold the clipboard for him? Can you do that?
Yeah, I think San Fran to run their system, a tier 3 quarterback will do. They don't
need weapons,
with the weapons, San Fran, and in order for their team to work, because they got to pay all these other spots, they can't afford. The way their team's going to be structured, they can't afford to pay a quarterback like this crazy money. They can't. So I think with San Francisco, it's always going to, unless they happen to draft, and Purdy ain't it. Unless they happen to draft one, it's always going to be like a tier 3 type quarterback that's running there, and they're going to be good. That's how but it's never going to be and Purdy ain't it.
So. Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see because Trey Lance, they thought Trey Lance was the guy. Like he looks like he should be the guy. He fills out a uniform, but he didn't look like the guy either. That's going to be fun to watch, especially if they end up, making it to the bowl and doing that kind of thing. Then you can't bench Purdy. I know he was taken 47 rounds after Lance, but you can't bench him. The New York Giants were one of the biggest surprises of this past season. They went from 4-13 last year to 9-7-1 this year, and they actually did advance past the wild card round of the playoffs. Well, quarterback Daniel Jones, he's due a new contract. How much faith would you have in him? Would you be willing to give him that big money?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because I realize part of that is Dayball.
Yes. Agreed.
Just setting him up really good. But at the same, I wish that this was like his first or second season.
Right.
What year is this for Daniel Jones? Is it like 5, 4?
I think he just finished 4 and never done anything.
Yeah. And with that being said, I just read that they are going to stick with him. That he's going to be their guy. So I don't feel like he's a tier 1 quarterback though.
No.
But with some designs and maybe he can be and he can run.
Yeah, he can.
Danny can run. He can scoop. So maybe he can be at the top of that tier 2.
I think that's what they have to hope for. How much are you willing to give him is the question, because then you sit there and say, okay, is he going to accept that lower tiered money? Does he realize who he is, or is he like, nope, I'm top tier.
I'm Josh Allen.
Right. Exactly. You have to wonder if he's going to be smart enough to understand, okay, like I've got to shore some things up and I can make some more money if I come out and prove this. you just wonder what his mentality is. Raymond, I've got a question for you. You're an all wise, all seeing kind of person. You know football. You've always been fascinated with the defensive side of the ball. So I feel like you're a good person to ask this question to. We are just ending the era of quarterbacks like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger's, guys that they rewrote the record books, played smart, played well, won games, won bowls. They did it all. Now you have this next batch of quarterbacks. You've got the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts. Don't get me wrong. I think these guys may be the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen. And yeah, I'm not always impressed with their quarterbacking. I think there are a number of reasons for this. I think offensive lines aren't as good as they used to be. Wide receivers aren't as good as they used to be, not as tough. You can't practice as much. But sometimes I'm watching games where I see guys like Patrick Mahomes, and I'm like, I understand it's adorable, and Chris Collinsworth wets himself when he sees, Patrick Mahomes make this little flip pass. Sometimes it's not good football. Sometimes it's poor decisions. I don't understand. Is quarterback play actually down despite the talent right now?
I wouldn't say quarterback play is down. No, not at all. I think quarterbacks. Well, I think we have three quarterbacks. Off the Allen, Mahomes, Burrow.
Yeah.
Off the top that I would say are elite passers.
Yes.
And then after that, you still have a few that are, I would say, that are pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say quarterback play is down.
Let me ask you this. If I put Dan Marino on that Chiefs or Niners team, how do you think he does?
Well,
let's say I put Jim Kelly on the current Bills team in his prime.
No, that wouldn't be a good thing.
No,
because Jim couldn't move.
No, he couldn't, but he knew where the ball was going.
He knew where the ball was going, but no, Jim Kelly doesn't work in this Bills offense. He's had to be able to move more. I think pocket quarterbacks have maybe gone the way. Yeah. Quarterbacking has changed, but I think because it's changed, I don't know that it's necessarily worse, though.
Right.
I don't think it.
At what point should we be concerned that so many quarterbacks are getting injured? I don't know how you legislate quarterback injuries completely out of the game. I understand you try to protect them, but my goodness, we saw some calls this year, and I know you saw some that they don't even make sense. They're not even by the rules of the game. You can't legislate some of these hits out of the game, can you?
Well, they definitely tried. There were a few times this season where Josh wasn't allowed to be touched.
Yes.
And I enjoyed some of the calls that we got. The Bills got calls this year because Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and there was a lot of times. I think there were times where Josh takes off running, and that murky. He's a runner. He's a passer, and there were a few times where Josh got hit, and they threw flags, and they're protecting Josh. So you're not going to get rid of hits in the game as much as they've tried to make the game safer and get rid of. They have, I feel like, gotten rid of a lot of the bigger hits that we used to see. But you can't get rid of, these are grown men, top athletes running at full speed. There's going to be violent collisions. That's what football is. So you can't take it all away. But they've definitely done some things to make it safer, a little more boring. But that's good in some ways.
No, and that's fair because there are times that you look at a play and say that's a great play, and it gets negated by a ref that sees it as a dirty play. We all saw the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Brady literally got a finger touched on him, and they threw the flag, and it cost Atlanta the game. Those are the kind of silly infractions that I wish we could do away with. I understand guys get hit, they get landed on. I get it. Dive at your knees, by all means, throw the flag. When you throw it for dumb reasons that don't even abide by the rules that the NFL themselves has set up, then I start to question it and go, what are you doing? You can't do that. You can't make it up on the fly.
Well, we don't want to. We could bring instant replay for flags. Well, we won't want that.
Where do you come in on that? Would you want it for roughing calls?
I think we go down the slippery slope if we start reviewing officials' calls, because if you're going to review this call, then why not review this call? And that's not, we're going to have to live with calls. That's part of the game too. Bad call.
And no, you're right. And the problem is, one, it is such a time waster. I really wish they would have the eye in the sky, like look at it and say, if this is egregious, buzz down, just get it changed, and you can make an announcement.
Right.
I'd rather see
minuscule.
that.
Right. It's second down. Right. It's second down, and it's second and an inch. Why are we measuring? Why are we taking time? Or if it's almost a first down, it's second and whatever. Just they can definitely save time. We definitely don't want to add time to games. Period.
No, they're probably almost too long right now. It seems like you could speed up some of these calls. It seems like you could do a couple things to kind of bring technology into, like, why is there not a laser in the pylon telling us the ball broke the plane or it did? I don't know. It seems like you could make a little more sense out of some of these things. I know this. I know that. And I was watching your game this weekend. The touchdown for the Bengals gets overruled. I don't know what instant replay is going to do. That might be my biggest problem with bringing in instant replay. I never know what's what anymore. I used to know what a catch was. I have no idea what a catch is. I don't have a clue. I wouldn't even know what they were going to rule if I saw it, because instant replay is completely unpredictable. They don't make any sense.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, on that touchdown during my game, you never saw the ball. You just saw his feet.
Yes.
Cross, and that suggested that the ball had crossed too.
Right. So, but not inconclusive, right? You couldn't see it.
Right. You couldn't see it. So I think the call on the field was a touchdown, so they did not overrule. Yeah. Or no. The call on the field was that he was short. They overruled it.
They overruled
it was a touchdown. Yeah.
But so maybe you couldn't see the ball.
You could not see the ball.
I struggle with that. I have it. That's where I struggle with replay in general. I think they've got some things to work out there. Raymond, I got one more question for you about this offseason. You are originally from Denver, even though you hate my Denver Broncos, but the Broncos fired head coach Nathaniel Hackett after only what can be described as maybe the most inept head coaching job I have ever witnessed. It didn't surprise me that the Broncos didn't do well. It surprised me how poorly they did. I couldn't believe he failed that hard. It was complete dysfunction. Now, the Broncos are looking for their next head coach. Sean Payton is out there, but that price tag is really high. I'm not even convinced he even wants the job. Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn is there. San Francisco 49ers defensive coordinator DeMeco Ryans is there. Former Indianapolis head coach Jim Caldwell is out there. Former Stanford head coach David Shaw. If I let you objectively hire the best guy, and no, you can't jinx us and give us a bad coach because you hate us, who would you hire?
Well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't think Peyton wants to come to Denver.
I don't either.
So it's not warm, and I don't think Wilson is necessarily his type of quarterback.
Yeah, agreed.
Gosh, it's been so long for Jim Caldwell.
I know.
I remember his teams were pretty good.
Tough.
Yeah,
didn't make a lot of mistakes. Yeah, I like that aspect. It makes me wonder if Caldwell came, does that mean Peyton Manning has some sort of job? Yeah, like he's got something going in the front office somewhere.
Perhaps.
That was kind of his guy.
Another thing, Jacksonville's last year, they might have you beat on inept coach.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Gosh, I don't know who would be. I don't know if you go defensive.
I know.
Type of coach. I think you might need more of an offensive type of coach.
For sure. Or a really good coordinator if you don't. And I don't even know who's out there for a coordinator.
Well, you're gonna have to hire a black guy. So, I'm just trying to think of all the black offensive guys. God, please, are there any?
Eric Bieniemy, but he's gonna want the head.
Yeah,
he's gonna want the head job though.
Yeah, Bieniemy. Yeah.
See, you have no faith in Bieniemy, do you?
I don't.
I don't either.
I just picture him, I don't know, like coming out and trying to run the option or something once he gets a head coaching job.
Well, and he's not going to have Mahomes. He's not going to have Kelsey. He's not going to have what he has. And more importantly, he's not going to have Andy Reid saying, run this.
Mm-hmm. And I think we'll never forget when Mahomes was just like, basically like, screw you. Like,
yes.
Because you're just like, he basically, his expression, his flippant response to him that day showed America who he is. Eric Bieniemy, like his role on the staff is like he's a nobody. Oh, that sounds terrible. I feel terrible saying that.
But you're not wrong. When he walked off and was just like, you hold the clipboard.
Yes.
You could see that was what he's thinking.
It was like, oh, this is, and I mean, we all know Andy Reid is come on.
Yes,
it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Andy's not giving up that stuff. Are you kidding me?
No. Why would he? You're telling me he's just on the sideline with a headset that doesn't work? Come on. Okay. We now have the NFL Conference Championships games coming this weekend. And I realize, Raymond, that you're going to be bitter. You're going to be angry about this. But I don't care. I still want to get your picks for both games. I want you to take your Bills hat off. I want you to give me what you think is going to happen. The Cincinnati Bengals now head to Kansas City to face those Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. And the Bengals have a pretty solid streak going against the Chiefs. They have now won 3 games in a row, including last year's AFC title game in KC. Can the Bengals and Joe Burrow do it again? How much will the Mahomes injury affect the Chiefs? Can the Bengals protect Joe Burrow against that KC pass rush? How do you see this Bengals versus Chiefs game going on Sunday?
The 3 wins that Burrow has over Mahomes, they've all been close games.
Yeah.
This one will not be as close as those other ones. I think that I just don't. The Chiefs don't have an answer for him. And Mahomes is not going to be 100%. So I just don't. Of course, I feel like Chris Jones. Nobody can block him. Okay, correct. He's unblockable. He's a beast. But I just feel like Burrow's going to, move over, step to the side, and do his thing. I just don't feel like the Chiefs can really stop him. And the Chiefs are not. Mahomes not going to be 100%. And that's going to be their downfall. So I got, the Bengals will score 30 points.
The Bengals defensive front is really underrated.
Yeah, they are.
They get to you. They get pressure, and they get a lot of it from the inside, not from the edge. They bring it up the gut and get in your face.
Yeah, Reader is a monster in the middle. Reader is a monster. And then they got those 2, what we call them, effort guys.
Yes.
They're 2 ends.
Gritty, gutty.
But they're really, they go. And they just keep coming. So
you've got the Bengals beating the Chiefs in KC again.
And it won't be as close as the other ones. It's not going to be they're not going to dominate like they did maybe this last game. But the Chiefs are not. The key to this is that the Chiefs are not at full strength. Mahomes is not going to be 100%. So offensively, he's not going to be able to keep up. He's not going to be able to move. He's like he normally would be. He's not going to be. And so with that said, they won't be able to keep up. So we got the Bengals scoring 30 something, and the Chiefs scoring 20.
I like it. I think this is going to be very, very interesting. Let's move over to the NFC side. We're in the NFC Championship. We are getting 2 very tough, 2 very physical teams, and both teams can control the line of scrimmage pretty well. They're pretty stout up front. The San Francisco 49ers head to Philadelphia to face the top-seeded Eagles. Raymond, this feels like it's going to be a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, it does seem like a under type of game.
Right.
Yeah, I expect both the defenses to play well. I don't think, I don't think the most of Purdy.
Right.
And then I don't think the most of Jalen Hurts either. So we're just going to get two teams running the ball back and forth. Trying to decide who we're going to send to the Super Bowl to lose.
Who's going to come out on top here?
I think that Jalen Hurts will be able to move the ball more so than Purdy and San Fran. So I'm going to go with Philadelphia to win this one like a 20-13, 24-17 type, something like that.
I could see that real easily. I think that's a pretty solid pick as well. Okay, so you then have Bengals versus Eagles. Before we get to this, by the way, we did our picks 2 weeks ago or whatever here on the Dose. We had Mike, we had Larry, we had Big Rob come in. Big Rob is crushing the playoff picks. He has the same pick that Raymond has right now. He's got Bengals versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Raymond, Super Bowl 57 in Glendale, Arizona. You have got the Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, versus the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. Who is winning Super Bowl 57?
Oh, boy. This is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because, I've said, disrespect to Cincinnati and, Joe Burrow's great, but, they talk about his confidence and what all that. He's a jerk. Okay. He's a jerk. He's not cool to me. He's not cool Joe to me. Cigars and crap in the locker room. And I mean, he's just obnoxious if you ask me. I would love to see him take an L. Oh my goodness. I would love to see them take an L. But I think the Bengals will beat them. The Bengals will beat the
Cincinnati
Eagles.
Bengals are going to win.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh
my gosh. And what a dump Cincinnati is, too. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? Until the Eagles won that Super Bowl, back against the Patriots, we would have said the same thing about the Eagles. We'd have been like, Philadelphia winning the Super Bowl? That's never going to happen. Now you're like, no, they might win it over Cincy. Cincy can't have nice things.
Right. They're all in Kentucky. They're not in Cincy.
You have the Bengals and Joe Burrow actually winning a Super Bowl. I like it. I like the pick. It's bold.
And all that.
Wow. Yeah. Joe's gonna have a cigar. He's gonna tell everyone to get their refunds. He's gonna be playing it up. Okay. I've got to keep you for maybe two more questions. Nothing big. But you've given us your picks. Right. You've given us some good stuff. I got to ask you this. Deion Sanders somehow actually took the job at the University of Colorado. He is their head football coach. He is bringing in quite the recruiting class. Is Deion going to get this thing actually turned around, or is this kind of a lot of talk about nothing?
I am fired up about my Buffs.
Are you?
It's been a long damn time.
Yes, it has.
I am. I'm excited. Finally, CU's picked the right brother. Okay. But that's why I love home, because they kept picking the brothers.
Yes, they did.
and I
quite
think
the record.
Yes.
Eventually, they got it right.
They got the right brother this time. I think that I think Deion's the real deal. I've been watching a lot of his they do too much recording, but yes, I've watched they do.
I saw him vacuuming his office the other day. Okay, that's enough. We don't need to see him doing cleaning. Yeah. Idiots.
But I do think that Deion is I think he's good at this. And I like I looked into his staff, his coordinator, his offensive coordinator is really a hot shot. I'm kind of excited about that. So I think CU, I think we're gonna start recruiting California. We're gonna get back into California recruiting, and it's gonna continue to, if anything, we're gonna have an awesome secondary. Okay, if you're in high school, I definitely want to come play for Dion.
Well, sure. I'm fascinated to watch it.
So yeah,
The best thing for me is it makes Colorado, it gets them back on the map. It makes you, at least people are talking. There has been no excitement in that program since like Bill McCartney left. Like a couple of substitute teachers, but nothing really good.
Yeah, that's just so crazy to me because growing up, us that was it. I didn't miss a game. I didn't miss CU games. I was as much of a CU Buff fan as I was a Bill fan back then.
Right.
Like I was crazy about Colorado, and it just so I would love to see us back, and I really think Dion seems to have a bit what it takes. Well, what it takes is getting kids. It's all about recruiting, and he seems to be able to get kids. So, hey, here we go.
So then here's kind of the next progressive question. He gets us rolling. They maybe are better this year. Maybe next year they're actually, ranked and that kind of thing. They get kind of, how long does he stay?
Right.
He's not staying in Boulder, right?
No, he's not. 3 years. He's not.
Tops.
He's not staying there. 4 years tops. Yeah, he's not staying.
He's going back to Florida.
He's going
maybe
to the
Texas,
NFL.
Maybe Texas, somewhere down there.
He's going to the NFL.
Yeah, you could be right there.
Yeah, he's going to be next Cowboy coach. Oh my gosh!
Wow.
But yeah, it's not going to be long term. He's not going to be in Colorado long, but hopefully he can get us back. I wish he can get us out that Pac-12.
Right. Because that conference is a mess.
Right. But yeah, if he can get us back and get us back rolling, man. See, we belong at top.
Final question for you. Raymond, I'm watching the Denver Nuggets. I know better than to buy into it. I know they're going to just break our hearts because that's what this franchise does. Every year, when you think you have a chance, you're forgetting it's the Nuggets. This is a cursed franchise. They're not going to win it, but I'm watching them. I don't know. If they weren't the Nuggets, I think I would pick them to win the whole thing, but they are, so I can't.
We have Pope.
Yeah.
And those two dudes have changed the game for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they've changed the chemistry. They've changed the makeup of the squad. Like, I don't know. We're not as soft.
Yeah.
We're tougher with those two. Yeah, we're tougher. And Gordon.
Yes.
He can be so streaky.
Well, he'll never be Batman, but he can be a really good Robin to
and
Jokic.
That's all we need him to be. It drives me crazy sometimes. I don't need you bringing the ball down the floor and pulling up on a three. Aaron Gordon, don't do this again.
Agreed.
So I really like those two additions, particularly to the squad. And then I feel like Michael Porter is continuing to grow.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to the basket more. He's not just pulling up as much. He's defending a little, they'll get there.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot. And then and Murray he's rounding into shape. He's rounding into form.
He has got ice in his veins. That kid.
Yeah, and he's defending.
Yeah, he is. And Jokic is playing maybe the best I've ever seen him play.
Yeah.
They're going to screw this up though, aren't they?
Yeah, because I don't like it when like when we play. When we were last time we were full strength, we played the Lakers.
Yeah.
And they abused us.
Yes.
I felt like so that wasn't a good sign. But this last win streak we've been playing well, but sometimes we just have these duds where it's scary.
Is it a Mike Malone thing? Is that what it is? I'm not a big Malone fan.
But if things should be getting tight for him.
You would think.
Yeah, they should be getting tight for him.
He's got a loaded team. You better do something with it this year.
Yeah. Yeah, a loaded team, and maybe other teams aren't what they were. So
for sure, the West isn't what it has been for sure.
Right. Golden State, Phoenix, the Lakers. Like, I'm not worried about Dallas. I mean, yeah, Luka's a beast, but Dallas doesn't scare me.
That's all they have is Luka.
Right. So yeah, hell yeah, I just thought about this, Clint. Like the West is hella down.
Oh
like,
yeah.
We should,
you literally could end up getting to face like Sacramento. And I'd be scared to death.
Exactly. Sacramento, or even worse, have to play the damn Timberwolves.
Yes.
Right.
All right. I had to get your thoughts on that. Raymond, we always love your visits. You are welcome anytime. We love to get your thoughts because you are never shy about sharing your thoughts with us. But I want to thank you for stopping by the Daily Dose, coming in. I got to give credit to Raymond real quick. I can ask him to come in, win or lose. It doesn't matter. He might not like it. He might not be he's going to show up and he's going to bring it every single time. So thank you for stopping by. We always appreciate when you come to the Dose.
Yes, glad to be here again. A little disappointed with our loss, but still, go Bills. That's my squad.